Surprise, motherfucker!
Oh, you surprised me. Sorry, I didn't know what to do.
We probably surprised the audience too, James, because we're doing a bonus trailer in the Rearview episode.
Bonus content.
Not for just one movie.
Right.
But for 2 movies.
2 movies, 2 bonus reviews in one bonus episode.
Yeah.
Bonus!
Bonus!
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Grab a seat, pour yourselves some whiskey neat. It's time to judge the shit out of these future releases by the movie trailers. We're trailer hits. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're trailer hits.
No, James, I'm not going to begin with a cheers. I'm going to begin with a skid. I'm going to begin with a rev of the engine, just like the one that passed outside. I am going to begin with Baby Driver.
Okay, fair enough. Can we follow that up with a cheers?
Fine.
I want a cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, great.
So Baby Driver came out about a month before this podcast will eventually hit your ears.
Yeah, it's
folks.
about a month ago now.
We saw it perhaps more than one time between the 2 of us.
Right.
And we're just going to go through real quick, talk to you about the trailer, give you a little snippet for the audio, and then we're just going to get right into it. We're going to talk about the trailer, then we're going to talk about the movie, and then we're going to just talk about both of them for a bit.
I love it.
All right, everyone happy with this?
I'm happy with it.
Bonus!
Bonus!
One more job and I'm done.
One more job, and we're straight.
No, I don't think I need to give you this speech about what happens when you say no, how I could break your legs and kill everyone you love, because you already know that, don't you?
Yeah.
The moment you catch feelings is the moment you catch a bullet.
And your waitress girlfriend, she's cute. Let's keep it that way.
And so, yeah, I'm definitely excited for this movie. I'm definitely excited to catch it in the theater right away because this is a need to see for me.
Holy shit, yeah. It's a need to see it for me too. Totally need to see it.
All right, buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen, because now we're talking about Baby Driver. This is written and directed by Edgar Wright, starring Ansel Elgort, John Barenthal, John Hamm, Elza Gonzalez. James, can you get the earbuds out of your ears?
You're gonna have to speak up. I have earbuds in.
Can you? No, take them out. Right? I don't believe.
I've been listening to the Baby Driver soundtrack nonstop.
Well, yeah, but now I don't believe you were listening to anything I was saying.
Do you want me to prove it to you, Kevin?
Prove it to me.
All right, Baby Driver. It's written and directed by Edgar Wright, starring Ansel Elgort, John Barenthal, John Hamm, Elza Gonzalez. Are you even listening? Do you have headphones in? Questions. Boom.
Well, I'll be damned. He did it. But don't worry, folks. I'm going to ask him 6 or 7 times throughout this podcast whether or not he was actually listening, because that's also what happens in the movie. But we'll get into it. First, we're going to talk about the trailer. Now, the international trailer and the domestic trailer dropped for these simultaneously, so we kind of lightly touched on both.
Yeah, we reviewed them both. Yeah.
When we were doing the podcast, we obviously enjoyed both because we ended up seeing it, and now you're listening to us talk about it.
We gave both of them a need to see it.
That is correct. So, in retrospect, does the trailer live up to the movie, or does it provide you a good entryway into the style of the movie, give you a decent idea of what's happening in the story, with the characters, etc.? The answer is yes.
100% yes. And honestly, too, when looking at 2 different trailers, there's always a risk that one is going to be selling a sort of different kind of movie than the other. For the most part, these both are selling the same type of movie, which is fun, energetic, cool, snazzy, and...
Yeah, a lot of style.
Style, yeah,
a lot
definitely.
of style.
Which has always been present in Edgar Wright films.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them are oozing with style. I'd say both trailers, one kind of, there was a little bit more humor to it.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, there was way more beats and actions and motion lining up with the beats of the song.
Yeah.
Like that kind of style. But both of those things are in the movie.
Present in the movie, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's one of those things where I think the perfect trailer for this would effectively take the bright spots of the international trailer, which kind of incorporates a bit more of the humor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Halloween mask joke is primarily what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but then also one that incorporates cutting action to music cues.
Yep.
I think if you had like smashed both of them together, it's like, I mean, maybe that was the thing. Maybe it would have been too good of a trailer. Maybe it would have been like, you know what? You basically just saw Baby Driver distilled into 2.5 minutes, and that's why they just separated it into chunks.
Sure.
Give you just enough to go off of, so that way you would want to
But
actually
they
go see
released
it.
them at the same time, which seems... It's like, just put them in one... Nah, that's fine.
Yeah, you know what? It's fine. You know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We don't know what they were thinking.
Right.
But ultimately, no, I mean, I really don't have too much on this because both trailers pretty much give you...
Which, we'll touch on this one more time, and we did when we actually reviewed the trailers. That is very impressive for an Edgar Wright movie trailer.
Yeah.
Because we have kind of gotten some pretty lackluster Edgar Wright film trailers.
I think this was the first trailer I had seen for an Edgar Wright movie where I was like, yeah, no, that looks great.
Yeah. I mean, I think I remember liking the trailer for Scott Pilgrim.
Sure.
I can't tell you.
I saw it because I was talking to another friend about it, and we watched the Scott Pilgrim trailer, and we both walked away going, that was okay.
Okay, all right, so it was fine.
Yeah,
it was
it's
fine.
not... It wasn't like blow you out of the water or anything like that,
yeah.
but...
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, yes. To answer the age-old question, it definitely sold the movie properly. That is essentially what you're looking for. One of the things you're looking for in the trailer. One is to get your ass in the seat. Two is it selling the right movie?
Yeah.
So it did both for us.
It
right?
did both, yeah, absolutely.
Shall we talk about the film itself?
Let's
then?
just get right into it.
Should we
dude.
dive in?
Yeah.
Let's try and not talk about any sort of spoilers. We can save that for the end of the conversation if we want to talk about spoilery stuff.
Sure.
Just real quick, your quick overview of what you thought of the film.
I
in
thought it was
general.
good.
You thought it was good. That's
Yeah.
right, you did.
Yeah.
And I thought it was better than good.
Okay, so give me the lowdown, sir. Why were you over the moon for this?
We went with a group of people, and apparently I was in the minority, which really threw me off.
We all
threw me off.
And bear in mind, the rest of us were like, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then proceeded to tear it apart. Not just you, but just kind of collectively, you were all you were feeling each other. You were like, we're on the same side, so let's talk about our grievances. And I was just over here with Jenny being like, it was really great, right? It was great, right? It was one of my favorite movies of the year, right? And Jenny's it was. Okay, good.
But go into specifics. So what did you really take away from the movie?
It's just a fun old good time heist movie. I don't know. I that's exactly you can't really say much about the trailers. What we have said about the trailers is style, looks like fun, looks like a great soundtrack. These are the reasons I want to see this movie. And I saw the movie and I'm like, those all reasons were satisfied. And so I'm like, this was great.
Sure.
That's essentially why I loved it, and the problems that people brought up, which you'll get into. You'll get into it.
I mean, I would have let you finish.
It's what we're here for.
Yes.
Almost all of them are valid points. They don't bother me on the same level that they bothered other people. To hinder it down from being great to just being good for me.
Yeah.
So there you go. I loved it. It's one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
Look, that's great.
I think as of right now, there's only one film I love more. But yeah,
is it Star Wars Episode 8? Even though it hasn't come out yet.
I'm not that guy. Kevin.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
not that guy. It will be probably, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Sure. No, totally get it. Yeah, for me, so I'm a massive, massive, massive Edgar Wright fan.
I know this.
I love the Cornetto trilogy. Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite movies ever.
You have all of Space,
I
right?
love Spaced. I'm a fan of Scott Pilgrim as well. And so I will admit that I walked in with really high expectations for this movie.
And after trailers like that, how could you not?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so overall, I thought it was good, but I will say that it is my least favorite Edgar Wright movie. And if we're including Space, it's my least favorite Edgar Wright thing.
What about his music videos? If we're calling it thing,
I do really like that Mint Royale video. So yeah, I would still put Baby Driver beneath it, especially because the Mint Royale video is in Baby Driver.
No,
and it's well, you could just watch it. Yeah. And that's not to say that I thought Baby Driver was bad. And when I say it's good, I legit mean, no, it's good. I'd recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. But I would say, because typically Edgar Wright takes, different genres and then mashes them up and finds kind of like an emotional undercurrent that runs through all of it, which for me kind of ties it all together. So Shaun of the Dead is zombies and a romantic comedy running headlong into each other. But at the center of it, you have this guy who is just a colossal fuck up who, God bless him, tries his best, but like at the same time just doesn't understand that like he is the reason why he is in his own rut.
Yeah.
And the movie is him trying to figure out how to do that with the help and detriment of his friends and his ex-girlfriend by his side.
Mm-hmm.
With Baby Driver, I just didn't have quite as strong as an emotional connection to it.
Or just like there wasn't much of a thematic undertone that
It felt like it was
driving
more...
the movie.
Yeah,
driving. Thank you. I was like, you're not going to blow past this one.
I'm not going to speed past it, James. Don't you worry. What I'm getting at, too, is... because he usually like tends to take genres and like kind of flip conventions on their head.
Yep.
With Baby Driver, it's one of the first times I felt watching an Edgar Wright property that I felt like he was just completely going headlong into that genre versus trying to find new angles to tell that story.
And that is a really great way of looking at it. And I haven't heard someone say that, but that is totally right. All of his other films have been subverting genres of some sort. Mm-hmm. Even Scott Pilgrim breaking down video games.
If anything,
and comic books.
if anything, it's mashing up video games and movies,
Yeah.
which is inherently pretty fucking neat.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the reason that I kind of got a breath of fresh air from this movie is because it wasn't a heavy movie. It was very light in terms of tone and story, and it was like Edgar Wright wants to make just a heist film. It's not a character study or anything. He just wants to make a heist film. Damn if I didn't have like some of the most fun at a movie I've had all year with it.
Sure.
So that is a really good point, and that's kind of a reason why
That's a really good point, but fuck you. I
It's
love
like-
it.
No, it's a great point, and I understand being such a massive Edgar Wright fan as you are, why that threw you off. And I think it's weird but interesting that that's kind of the reason I loved it so much. Like World's End, I did not like the first time I watched it because it was heavy and there's a lot there to digest, and you just like kind of don't appreciate it right away. And it's that second viewing or third viewing that you're like,
Yeah.
this is so good.
Yeah, and
And
World's End is super like it's his most depressing movie
Yeah.
by a mile.
And so that's great. It makes the rewatch amazing.
Yeah.
And this one, it's much lighter on a lot of aspects. So you're able to, at least I was able to just enjoy it at face value right away.
Yeah,
You know
for
what
sure.
I mean? And I'm gonna just call it out. There's a motherfucker with a leaf blower outside, so we're just gonna power through.
Well,
but
people,
I wanted to draw
people got to
attention
blow
to it.
leaves
I
at
guess.
some time, James,
Yeah.
and it's 5 on a Friday.
That's true.
So when else is he going to blow
I
leaves?
guess. I just wanted to call it out.
He could wait until night, but then we'd be recording at night. We could have recorded this in the morning, but then I would have been tired, and so I would have said no.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have drank as much whiskey.
That's true.
You would have
yeah.
drank some because I would have made you.
I know.
Just kidding. I don't peer pressure people into drinking. I promise.
Help.
So should we just dive into? So this is if we want to talk about spoilery stuff, specifics of what you didn't like.
And at
that
this
is
point,
right
yeah.
now we're about
and again,
to do that.
I think at this point, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably have seen the movie. But yes, if you still haven't gotten a chance to, and you're trying to use this as a model for, will I change my mind? Will I actually make the effort to go out and see it?
Yeah.
Run or drive away,
Drive away.
right now. So yeah, I mean, like if I'm getting into specifics, so bear in mind, like I think it's a good movie.
Yes.
Part of why I think it's a good movie is I think Baby as a character is really fascinating. I loved that right near the middle of the movie, after the last, in quotes, job, when he's getting the car crushed and he has that memory of his mom, and there's this really quick sequence where you basically get his entire backstory in like a minute and a half. There's a song playing backwards throughout it, and it's what leads to his parents' death. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, it becomes really apparent that the entire reason why he's a driver is to course correct and effectively save his mom. Like, that is what's going through that character's mind, and it comes through really great. And seeing the movie from that lens, all of his decisions make sense. And like the tinnitus coming from accident as a kid, and they try and make it a point like that is a factor in why he has tinnitus.
Yeah.
For those at home, loud music can also give you tinnitus. So like if you're going to try and emulate Baby Driver, just be forewarned you might get tinnitus from it.
Yeah.
I felt like it was such a well-drawn character. And I just felt like, with the exception of John Hamm, everyone else around him is not nearly as fleshed out or as well drawn. Which, for some characters, like side characters, you don't really need that much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting Flea's character, Eddie No-Nose, to have like a major character arc and a turnaround. That said, it was really disappointing to see that the waitress character did not get any character arc whatsoever.
Sure.
Really. Like, she's really, after 2 hours, all I know about that character is she is a fan of music, she loves Baby, and that's about it. Like, and if I'm rooting for this romance to happen, if I'm rooting for Baby to get out of the crime biz and to live a long and happy life with this woman, it would just, I think, resonate more with me if I knew who that woman was, or like had some idea of what was ticking in there.
Sure.
Because like, again, the movie makes a really specific point to point out why Baby is attracted to the waitress. That said, I don't know why the waitress is attracted to Baby.
Have you seen him?
I mean, have you seen her? Maybe she could do, like, you know, like, she can have her pick. Why specifically that guy? He doesn't seem to talk all that much.
Are you saying that she's out of Baby's league? Is that what you're telling me?
It
sounds like that's what
I'm
you're
just
saying,
saying that she can play in whatever field she wants. I'm just surprised that she picked the one that seemed kind of flat.
Well, you just don't understand women then, I guess.
Well, you just don't understand women either. Or, I mean, really, we could just throw we can just throw that at each other, and
Yeah.
we would both kind of be right, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and especially because we're men. Like, we can't really know what a woman... Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like, so the lack of characterization with some of the characters, but especially the waitress.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Spacey gets a little bit more to do, but for me, he never really ascends past the level of the mob boss in a crime movie, you know? That said, from an editorial standpoint, this movie's off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the movie is cut beautifully. I was kind of like drumming out my tempo to like whatever song was playing in the theater.
Like you're tapping your foot
and
all the time.
every cut, or mostly every cut, cuts to the beat of the music.
Totally, yeah.
Almost every action like corresponds with a music cue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really masterfully done, because it's so hard. It's so easy to fuck that up. You know what I mean? It's easy to take something like that and to make it incoherent. And inherently, even though like that's a cool way to approach editing something, it is ultimately pretty restrictive, because, well, I really want a reaction shot here, but I'm mid-beat right now and I can't fucking cut.
Right.
God damn,
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not going to get that reaction shot that I want. You know, and I felt like they were able to do it in a way where it was completely stylish. It completely fit the style of the movie. However, it also tells the story effectively. And whatever issues I may have with the story or with character, I feel like the way that it's shot and edited did not play a factor in that at all. I thought that was really, really well accomplished.
Totally.
Now, I've been gabbing on for a bit, James. Give me some of your thoughts. What's going on in there?
Yeah, I don't like I said before, the waitress not having a character or having enough of a character development has been a complaint from a lot of people for this movie. And I just like, the more and more I thought about it, the more I just like, I don't care, because it's not her movie. And like, there's certain films where it's like, you kind of need everyone to have their own character arcs or personalities and stuff, because it's not as stylistic. So it's like, what am I watching? Oh, I'm watching these characters. I'm watching so much more than just characters. I'm watching just this whole surreal universe that is not real. Like, this is not a real... This is like a fairy tale land with cars, you know what I'm saying? And music. So I just didn't need all these other characters. Like, I'm watching Baby's story, and I just didn't need all these other characters to really be like completely flushed out in a way where like every single one of them has an arc. That's something that is important, and if it was there, that would have been great too. I'm not saying it's better for not having those. I'm just saying that it doesn't bother me, and I'm trying, but I can't really explain why it doesn't bother me.
But I mean, you did when we started talking about this. You walked in wanting an entertaining, fun movie with a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
And you got all three of those
Yeah.
with gusto. I completely agree with you that it checks those three boxes a couple of times, actually. Like, it really, like, that's how much time and attention was taken.
And with,
into
like,
it.
some fun fucking twists and turns along the way. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't a predictable movie either, which was really cool. Like, I didn't expect John Hamm to be the villain of this movie. Especially after they do a job with John Hamm, he's not in, and then he's like not in the movie for a while. It's like this movie is set up for Kevin Spacey to be the movie. That is the genre that it's subverting. In where it's like, especially in the trailers, they set up Kevin Spacey is the mob boss who's got Baby under his thumb, right? And Baby's dream is to get away from this lifestyle and run away. Who is the antagonist of that story? It's Kevin Spacey. But the end of the movie is Kevin Spacey helps him accomplish that goal with John Hamm all of a sudden stepping into the role as villain. That is something I didn't expect.
Sure. I mean...
And I know a lot of people didn't expect that either.
Like, maybe in broader strokes, you could maybe argue that, or maybe I would be able to argue with you on that.
I'm a
but,
broad
like,
stroke kind of guy, Kevin.
However, I mean, like, the last scene with John Hamm, where he dies, and then all of a sudden, whoa, now I'm back, and then he dies again, and then, whoa, I'm back, is, like, a pretty familiar action trope. And,
sure, once you've established that John Hamm is the bad guy, that kind of stuff happens. But I'm saying up until then, really, like I don't know halfway through this movie that John Hamm is going to be like the main antagonist, the ending boss. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I just there was no way of me knowing that.
I actually really like that. I know a few people who really express, oh, just kill John Hamm off in the diner, and then Kevin Spacey can be the villain from that point on. But I completely felt like I understood the motivation with John Hamm's character. I think his dialogue in the diner is pretty whack. But other than that, I felt like they did an effective job of making him a villain.
Yeah,
and
I thought so too.
I completely bought why he would turn on Baby. And if anything, I thought that it was pretty cool that he did. Given that the first couple of times you see him interact with Baby, he's really nice to him.
It's a one-sided father relationship on the John Hamm side.
Sure.
He looks like he's trying really hard to take Baby under his wing, but Baby is just like, I'm just trying to listen to my music, everyone leave me alone.
Yeah.
And so he's like that dad that's just like really trying to get his son to hang out with him and like him, but it's like, dude, just fucking chill.
Yeah. Kevin Spacey, turning and helping him sort of thumps with me. You actually had mentioned a really good point, which was when Kevin Spacey, and this is included in the trailers, threatens to harm his girlfriend. Oh, your girlfriend's really pretty. Let's keep it that way.
Mm-hmm. Which are all implying. Like,
yeah.
All of his stuff is basically implying of stuff that he could do.
Yeah,
right.
And then you make a really good point in that, oh, well, clearly that means that Kevin Spacey was bluffing. Like,
yeah, he is the ultimate bluffer of the film.
And I'd like to kind of dive in a little bit more with you, because, like, if that's the only bluff he makes, it kind of makes it a little harder for me to swallow that point. Do you remember any other examples where he's clearly bluffing his way through something?
There's never another opportunity for him to be bluffing. Literally every time he's saying something that we should draw into question, he's talking about maybe threatening Baby, which is a bluff, we know. Every other time he's talking is delivering the plan to the group. So it's like, no, that's not going to be a bluff, because he wants this fucking heist to succeed.
If that's the case, I might have appreciated another bluff to just kind of help, like, make that point become clear that sometimes he's full of shit.
That's a fair criticism.
Yeah. And if anything, again, that would have added an interesting twist to his character. Like, if he did talk big and kills off, the one guy in the second heist.
Now, see, I thought you were going to throw that. I thought you were going to use that earlier as like a reason why he is a bad guy who doesn't bluff.
We don't know who kills that guy.
I think it's pretty fair to assume Jamie Foxx is the one
Sure.
who killed him for getting the wrong masks.
Sure.
That is what I assume. Knowing the end and knowing how much he bluffed with Baby, I can assume that Jamie Foxx, who was like the
Crazy.
devil in this movie, who's incredible, by the way. He
yeah,
crushed
he's
this role.
I think he's really good in this.
By the time that Kevin Spacey flipped, I was like, oh, Jamie Foxx killed that guy then. Like 100%. And Kevin Spacey's just like, ugh, now we need to clean this fucking shit up. Thanks a lot.
But anyway, yeah, I think that overall, I did appreciate the movie. I actually did really enjoy the end because it didn't let Baby off the hook. Actually,
How do you mean it didn't let Baby off the hook?
in that he didn't get to ride off into the sunset willy-nilly. He gets captured. He gets tried in a court of law.
That was pretty cool. 'cause-
Everyone's like, he's such a great guy, and the court system goes, I don't fucking care,
Yeah,
and then throws him in prison.
Yeah, look, we'll take that into account. Next.
We agree. He's been pretty polite so far.
Yeah.
Next. I did appreciate that, and that was kind of where it was like, yeah, this is the Edgar Wright that I kind of know and love.
Sure.
Because typically he sticks to the rules of whatever universe that he's creating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ed dies in Shaun of the Dead. Maybe you can argue he kind of cheats a little bit with bringing Nick Frost back to life at the end of Hot Fuzz, but
Ketchup, man.
You know what? Ketchup. One, ketchup. Two, I wanted him to live, so fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But usually, like, he's pretty real with this shit, and so I did appreciate the fact that...
Or the whole world exploding in World's End.
Yeah, there is that, isn't there? But yeah, and, like, there are some really great touches. I do really like the deaf stepfather.
Was he actually his stepfather?
Well, I thought that was the
You mean
implication. It was-
foster father?
Foster father,
There. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I guess
Foster,
I
yeah.
always assumed stepfather.
Australian for my dad.
I always assumed stepfather specifically means a man who married your mom.
That's 100% what it means, honestly
Okay.
speaking.
Great. Well, then we got a great beer joke out of it.
All right.
Cheers, Kevin.
Cheers. Wish it was Foster's.
I know.
Wish you were here, Dad.
No, I did. I really loved that foster dad's character too. Like that was really great moments in there, and it makes sense because
So, like, he likes to spread his peanut butter to the edges thing. It's like, But him touching the speaker...
if that were it,
that'd have been lame as fuck.
Yeah.
But him touching the speaker to feel the bass vibrations of the music is really, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And, like, is a really great way, even though... Because Baby is completely driven by music, and to have a deaf foster father, you would think would be like, oh, how are they gonna fucking... Like, they're gonna not connect at all. But yeah, just like that little movement of like him just touching that speaker and seeing his eyes light up is really cool.
That was great, yeah. And like, and I would say too that if the peanut butter to the edges thing were its own thing in the beginning part of the movie, yeah, that would have been just like, what is this? But I think that part is important for later when he leaves the note on his foster dad's chest at the home. It adds a little bit of a emotional connection between the two. Like, he likes TV, he likes his peanut butter spread to the edges. It's like, if it's just he likes TV, that's not really
Everyone loves
join
TV.
the fucking club. Everyone loves TV.
We'll wheel him in with the others. Yeah.
But that added a nice touch, I thought, at the end when he drops off his foster dad.
Sure.
This thing that we kind of like didn't really care about earlier in the film. Oh, that's nice now.
And see, it's one of those things where I understood what they were going for, but like, again, just because like the bass vibrations of the... And bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting so fucking inside baseball right now. This ultimately didn't really affect my view of the film, but now we're just talking. So anyway, yeah, I mean, like, him touching the speaker, like, is like a direct connection to Baby and his character, whereas like the peanut butter spread to the edges just sort of felt like an anomaly. And like, because it didn't really do anything specific to tell me about who the foster father was, I didn't really connect as much, but I understand your point, and I understand that that's what the movie is going for.
And I would argue again, that it doesn't matter his character. The point is Baby's
Yeah,
connection
and,
to
like-
him. And the point for the
And
peanut butter
I-
spread is he takes care of
And
it.
I didn't need another ounce with the foster father
Right,
character.
right.
You know what I mean?
And
like,
good, yeah. 'Cause
That's
that
not,
would've-
that's not a character where I would have been like, well, where's his arc? You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
But again, like, the waitress, I would have really appreciated some sort of arc with, and really all it means, because in theory, like, because we have, like, the semblance of one there, I think. I think she and Baby immediately connect when she's like, oh, some days I want to just, like, hop into a car I can't afford, drive without a plan, just with me and my music, and
Yeah.
immediately Baby's like, Aruga! And just falls in love with her. And so clearly her character is trying to escape from something too. And because I'm actually the one that saw it twice, which is probably going to be a surprise to the people listening. I did see it twice. And the second time through, I did catch really, really, really fucking minor, like, you know, like her boss drops a plate and screams, God damn it. And she's like, you know, oh yeah, I understand what you mean by like wanting to get out of here or whatever. And so I think that was as close to an arc as she was going to get. Was she didn't really like her job, but I think just kind of giving her something to want to get away from. And bear in mind, it could have been as innocent as she didn't like her job, so that way it could more counterpoint her reasons of wanting to escape and wanting to kind of live in a fantasy
Are like PG
are
compared to
PG
his.
compared to fucking that dude just got shot in the head.
Yeah. And you're saying a lot of things that make a lot of sense, but I got that from it. Like, I got that this is what she wants to escape, is like this job, this humdrum life. And that was enough for me.
But, like, at the same time, too, it's like when Baby tells her to wait for her, and then I think the only time you see her without Baby, she's sitting and waiting for Baby. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really imagine her life outside of the movie.
Okay,
Because it's just
that's a
work
fair point.
and Baby. Again, just like having something to round out that character. And I understand maybe that's what the movie was going for. You seem to think that is 100% what the movie's going for. But, like, maybe just giving me a little bit more to go off of. It might have been a cool scene if Kevin Spacey showed up at the diner, had a conversation with her, like, one-on-one, and is talking about Baby without saying he's talking about Baby. You know what I mean? Like,
Would you have
especially if we're
preferred-
going through an action trope, like...
Yeah, would you have preferred that to Kevin Spacey arriving at Baby's house with his, and like wanting to come up to his foster dad?
Yeah, I would have. I mean, like, because
I think I agree. I think that moment is good, but it could have been better used for him going to the diner.
Yeah.
Or-
It would have been more interesting if Kevin Spacey had threatened his dad in that scene. You know, your foster father's really cute. Let's keep it that way. Maybe you would have to change the line. Sure, I get it.
No, it's perfect the way it is.
Okay, yeah, okay, then we
He
agree
was
on that.
cute.
We
He was
do agree on
adorable
that.
as hell.
But then having the actual threat be him going to the diner because he knows about the foster father. Of course he does. He knows exactly where Baby lives.
Yeah.
But this woman, I mean, he might be just going on a one-off date. Who the fuck knows? And I think if he goes and establishes, oh no, you do really care for Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really need Baby for some shit.
Yeah, we almost got that with the fancy restaurant, but he never talked to her.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean,
It
that
would
was,
have
it was
been-
close, but not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that would have elevated things a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I loved it.
Yes. Yes, as you should.
Pretty much 5 for 5 in my book.
Yeah.
So that's
And bear in
pretty
mind-
fucking great.
Bear in mind, like, this for me was he hit the ball and I was kind of like, oh, and then it just, all right,
Yeah.
now it plopped into
Using the horrible analogy of Rotten
Golf?
Tomatoes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Would you give this a fresh or a rotten?
fresh.
There you go.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely a fresh.
So that's great.
yeah.
Great. What was our rating system
What
again?
the fuck is our rating
It's
system?
not
okay,
Rotten
so
Tomatoes.
It's shouldn't have seen it, should have waited, glad I saw it, and
Should see it again. That's right. Yeah.
For me, I'm glad I saw it.
You're glad I saw it, and this for me is a should see it again. So this is
Isn't it interesting that the guy who's seen it twice is like, glad I saw it. Person who's seen it once is like, I should see that
yeah.
again.
To be fair,
We're
everyone,
gonna re-record another bonus episode in a week where you're like, fuck, I see your point.
No, that will not happen.
That will not happen.
Because you felt this after the first viewing, right? And just
And
so
actually, if anything, I softened the movie after the second
sure.
viewing.
Okay, great. Well, and that's great. But just so the audience knows, we dragged Kevin there the second time. We went as a group the second time. The first time...
The reason why you dragged... What time did we see the film at, James? Do you remember?
It was like morning-ish.
Uh-huh.
It was not that early. It was like 10-something, right?
It was about 10:30.
Yeah, 10:30.
Okay, what were we all doing the night before that we all knew we were going to be doing the night before?
Drinking.
We were drinking a lot. Yes, we were. That is absolutely correct, James.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a should see it again for me, far and away. Like I said, it's like my second favorite movie of the year. So
that's great.
Yeah.
What is your first favorite movie of the year?
Funny you should mention it, Kevin, because we're about to talk about it. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Well, that kind of gives away your rating, doesn't it?
Listen, I know school sucks.
Peter, you still with us?
Yeah.
I know you want to save the world, but you're not ready yet.
You're the Spider-Man.
No, I'm not. This is just a costume. This is...
You're on the ceiling.
Now, would you say that would you need to see this?
That's going to be a need to see it for James.
All right. Well, we've had a really long streak where, we haven't come to an agreement in the main
That's
trailer
true.
Need to see.
It's fine, but it's true.
It is absolutely the fact, but that streak just ended because I'm also a need to see.
Ready to swing into this one, Kevin?
I'm gonna do my best, but unfortunately, my suit's still on power save mode or training wheels mode. If you could do me a favor and kind of lead us off, sir. Do you want to give us the gist?
Yeah, good. All right, guys. So we're gonna talk about Spider-Man: Homecoming. Mm-hmm. It was directed by John Watts,
who directed a movie called Cop Car.
Did you
2 years ago. I did. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I should check that one out. Starring Tom Holland, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr., Marissa Tomei. Jon Favreau had a pretty big part in this movie.
Pretty substantial role, yeah.
Than he's had since Iron Man.
Since he's had since
2
Swingers,
or something.
Yeah.
Zendaya, who is
a teen pop star. I found that out at work.
Yeah,
I have a coworker who's in the know with the teen stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh, Zendaya, a pop star or a teen star.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me like I was a fucking idiot.
Exactly. I was literally going to stop reading names at Jon Favreau. But then I stumbled across her name on the IMDb, and I'm like, I remember hearing on an article or something that only reason that teenagers are seeing this movie is because she's in it. Yeah. And I'm like, what? Who is this person? I'm like, is Robert Downey Jr. and Michael Keaton not enough for you people? And then I'm like, wow, I'm getting old.
Yeah, really,
really
for me,
those people.
It's kind of like the same thing when people were freaking about Sebastian Stan being in Logan Lucky. Except this I feel less embarrassed about. You know what I mean? This one, it's like, what? No, I feel like I have a right to not know who that is.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel embarrassed about either of them. I mean, really.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's pop culture bullshit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and by the way, we forgot to do a random shout out for Baby Driver. Hey, everyone in Baby Driver, you did great.
You did great.
But Spider-Man: Homecoming, we're going to give our random shout out to Andy Powers, who was the ferry commuter.
Okay.
Hey, Andy.
Great.
You did good on that ferry.
Andy was my favorite ferry commuter. The trailer was great. Let's as Baby Driver, let's break down what we thought about the trailer.
Yeah, I mean,
how it sold the film.
And I felt like, again, it sold the movie really well.
Yeah.
And, I remember what drew me into the trailer was how fun it was and the energy behind it and how it was kind of taking the high school bend to a superhero story.
To new heights.
To new heights, as it were. Swinging up, maybe? It depends on if you have training wheels.
Pretty good.
So yeah, I mean, it did. I felt like that was the movie that I got.
Yeah, and I think that's important to let the audience know is that there were multiple trailers on this. The one that we fell in love with was the first trailer. And as you were talking about the high school angle of it, the high school energy, the youthful energy of it, that was really present in that first trailer. And then the later trailers, I feel like they kind of lost a little bit of that. I mean, from the MGMT song to just the trailer devoting a big chunk to just Peter and his friend kind of ogling a girl that he's crushing on, you know? Like, these are stuff that every teenager goes through, and, like, that was, like, really important to establish in the first trailer. And that he's, like, really in the thick of it with all this, like, Avenger shit. And the trailer juggled both of them very well, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the only thing with the Homecoming trailer, and I remember this being like my hesitation behind the Homecoming trailer was Iron Man seems to be in this like a pretty substantial amount.
He was in that first trailer a lot.
I was really hoping that the movie wouldn't hinge Iron Man into Peter Parker's arc as a character. Like, I wanted Peter Parker to kind of figure out his bullshit more or less alone.
Yeah.
Because that makes for a more interesting character.
Yeah.
And this trailer, I felt, really had a lot of Iron Man. And in the movie, folks, really not that much Iron Man.
No, like, I think we see Iron Man 2 different times in this trailer.
Yeah.
He's in it maybe for, like, 3 big scenes.
Yeah.
And, like, that's it. Like, Jon Favreau is in it way more than Robert Downey Jr. is. Like, he is a substantial character in this film. But, like you said, the thing you were concerned about was them hinging Tony Stark on the Peter Parker story too much, right? I think that was a thing that even the movie kind of knew Peter was trying to do. Like, Peter wanted that, like, attachment with Tony Stark. And the fact that he wasn't getting it at every turn made for a really interesting story. Like, he was desperately seeking entry into the Avengers and just to hang out with Tony Stark all day type of stuff. And it's just, like, not that ever. And he's, like, kind of disappointed time and time again and learning to deal with it. I thought that was really interesting. Anyway, the trailer, though.
Yeah.
I thought it sold the movie perfectly. You know?
Yeah.
They held a lot of things in reserve in this first trailer, primarily Michael Keaton's role.
A lot of Michael Keaton, yeah.
We'll get into it later, but, like, what a fucking good character villain. You know what I'm saying? But in this trailer, we get him in his costume, we get him, you know, saying, delivering one intimidating line, but it's, like, pretty out of context.
Yeah.
Not much to go off of. And that's fine, though, too, because this is it's more a movie about Peter.
And, like, you're completely right. It is a movie just about Peter Parker growing up, which isn't to say that Michael Keaton isn't in the movie a whole bunch. Quite the contrary. He's in a pretty good chunk of the movie. He's in it a lot,
man.
Yeah.
No spoiler.
So and that's not getting too heavy into spoilers. He is the villain.
Yeah.
And with the trailer, and I feel like the trailer handles it well, where it's like, we're going to give you a little taste of it. There's threat, there's conflict, just aside from puberty.
Yeah.
We're just going to let you have fun with this.
Yeah.
And for those reasons, I thought it was an effective trailer. Does it sell the movie well? Really, I'm actually in, like, a pretty nice position for, like, my tastes, because really the one thing that I feel like it missells is how much Iron Man is in the movie. Which is ultimately a positive for the movie, though.
Yeah,
So, in my eyes, the movie succeeds better than the trailer does, but at the same time...
very interesting. Okay.
But at the same time, the trailer does completely adequately prepare you for what you're in for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I didn't think about it that way. And I remember you voicing your concerns about Tony Stark in it too much. I wasn't too worried about it, but I remember. Yeah. I definitely thought he was going to be in it more than he was.
Yeah.
Not that I was disappointed that I didn't get more Tony Stark. I wasn't. I wanted this to be a Spider-Man movie about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I was, like you, I was pleasantly surprised that they held their Tony Stark cards for the right moments in the film.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew when to draw the ace.
Yeah, exactly. So, pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good trailer.
I'd say Baby Driver probably sold what kind of movie you're about to enter a little bit better than this trailer did.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But for the most part, pretty okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we start talking about how we felt about the movie in general?
Let's do it.
And then we'll get into spoilery stuff later.
You've kind of given. Speaking of knowing when to play your cards, you kind of gave away your hand right away. I will start by saying that if I jumped into a time machine right now, went to just even a year ago, and if I looked myself dead in the eye and said, Kevin, you're going to enjoy Spider-Man Homecoming more than Baby Driver, I would have been like, what's Baby Driver? And then I would have been like,
what's Baby Driver?
and I would have been like, it's the new Edgar Wright movie. And then I'd be like, you're clearly not me then, and I would have just kicked the shit out of myself.
You would have taken a drink of your whiskey and then spat-taked all over him.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Exactly. But here I am to tell not just myself, but to you listening and to you, James, that I did. I enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming more than Baby Driver.
Yeah, it was so enjoyable.
It was, yeah. Like through and through, I was really entertained, and and it's very well documented that I've kind of lost some faith in comic book movies, especially origin stories.
Yeah.
When we showed up to the theater, I was pretty hungry. And was like, okay, well, every Marvel movie at about the hour mark gets, stupid boring. So I'm just going to wait until the hour mark. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get some popcorn or something like that. The hour mark came, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to leave. I'm really enjoying what happens to him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's not to say that...
You didn't get up and go get food?
I absolutely did. I absolutely went up and got food. That's not to say that there isn't, some structural issues I have with it. I'll kind of get into one hipster's thoughts and views on the structural of Marvel movies. So, just when you hear it, just start skipping. But, overall, I had a great time with this. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I think we've talked, it feels like a lot of, the Marvel movies that are sort of in the upper echelon of the MCU are the ones that kind of tend to mix genres a little bit. So, Winter Soldier really stuck with me because it is partly a spy film.
It's a political thriller spy movie. Yeah.
And Homecoming is primarily a teen movie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a John Hughes sort of mashup with superheroes? How the fuck is this gonna work? And then I saw it and I was like, pretty well.
That kind of worked.
That does work pretty well.
And I am a diehard John Hughes fan. I mean, especially more so the high school saga. Ferris Bueller, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
I love Planes and Trains and Automobiles too.
Love that one too. Yeah.
Let's not go down this road. Anyway, I could have seen Steve Martin as the Vulture. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Steve Martin's character.
Don't get me wrong,
Keaton's
great.
Yes,
Keaton is fantastic. That said, oh man. Or if John Candy was still around, he could have been the gym teacher.
John Candy could have been Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Happy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't recast the movie. We should just actually talk about.
No, I think that was an amazing pairing, and you're right.
Mm-hmm.
They're really hitting their stride with these films that are trying to take the genre into new directions. I loved it though. I had so much fun in coming after. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, so I kind of. And after the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield, which critically are panned, most people agree they're not great. I actually still like them. And trust me, I get a lot of flack for saying that kind of stuff because I say the same thing about Batman vs. Superman. I said the same thing about Suicide Squad.
Uh-huh.
These aren't good movies, but I feel like I'm checking out a comic book in movie form. And then you finish the comic book and you're like, cool. I probably won't read it again, but cool. It's that's how I look at comic book movies now.
Sure.
And it doesn't need to be a great piece of cinema for me to enjoy my time with it. And so that's what the Andrew Garfield ones were for me. But trust me, I was praying that this was better than them. I was. And I was expecting it to be, too, because I did like Tom Holland in Civil War. I thought he played well with the older superheroes. It was such a great dynamic to have this young teenager in there. And I thought it worked perfectly. And granted, there weren't, all the Avengers in this film, but that was kind of the point, is he's just obsessed with getting to be an Avenger that he's forgetting to be a kid and do his life.
Well, that was the driving force of the movie for me. It was a movie about growing up when you already have the responsibility of a lifetime on your hands. With great power comes great responsibility. It's a pretty common phrase among the
And I
Spider-Man
think
universe.
it's important to point out it has not been said yet in this franchise.
Which is great.
In this new
it's
franchise.
great.
Yeah.
You know, he has all this power and responsibility, and I think they did a really great job of showing, dude, he's still growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's not to say that he's necessarily, like, remarkably immature.
Right.
But, I mean, like, the dude who wants to, like, talk to girls, and he wants to, like, go to parties, and
insecure, but in like a comedic, awkward way, instead of insecure like Andrew Garfield, where it was just a dark, angsty, brooding way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
whip the bangs out of your eye kind of insecure.
It's a different kind of insecure, but it's one that Tom Holland crushed.
Oh, I think Tom Holland is great.
Yeah.
He's probably my favorite Spider-Man.
I almost said, you know what? Okay, I don't know. It's hard. I need to rewatch it. I'll put it that way. Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man that I grew up with. Like that was very the first two Spider-Man.
And like,
films,
bear in mind that those Spider-Man movies are doing a completely different take on Spider-Man.
100%.
Like, yeah, they still sort of try and bullshit that he's a kid in the first one, but they get out of that right away.
They do
because they know that it just doesn't make
they
any
make
sense.
him graduate as soon as fucking possible.
Yeah, like 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
He's out. Okay, he's an adult now.
Yeah.
Go.
And then the Andrew Garfield ones, it's like, okay, he's gonna be in high school the whole first movie, but the second movie, like, in the first scene is his graduation. We need to get him out of high school.
Yeah.
And then this one, it's like, oh no, he's like 15 in this movie. So
and deal with it. Here we go. Yep.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we talk about spoilery stuff and specifics?
Dun.
Yeah. Wait, that sounds bad though.
Maybe it's bad if you haven't seen the movie. If that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, this is your cue to skip ahead.
You're good.
For spoiler stuff. Oh, so Michael Keaton's her dad, eh?
Okay, let's get into it. That was a delightful twist. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because for most Spider-Man movies, the trope has been the villain finds out who Peter Parker is in love with or who's crushing on,
and then it's like, I'm gonna get her.
And then I'm gonna get her. Like, that is like the way to, that's how they've all gone, right? Yeah. And this was really, really awesome because when Peter Parker walks up to Liz, right?
Yeah, that's her character name. Liz.
He walks up to Liz's house to take her to homecoming.
Yep.
And opens the door, and Michael Keaton is just standing there, and he smiles. My first instinct was, oh no, not this trope again. The Vulture found out somehow. I don't know, I missed that scene, I guess, or they didn't shoot that scene.
Well, I was getting food at one point, so it makes sense.
So I was like, okay, I guess he knew who Peter Parker is and who he loved, and now is like at her house. And then very, very quickly, I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense at all. Oh my God, he's her dad.
Yeah.
And then what proceeded was the most uncomfortable dad-boyfriend like scene I've definitely ever seen in a superhero movie.
Him brandishing the knife.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just incredible. He's calling him Padre and like Pete and just like all these like uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable. And like that's but like that's what's cool because like the movie is again about him growing up, and that's something that I really loved is the villain of the movie turned out to be his girlfriend's dad.
That's incredible.
Like,
it's an incredible
because,
twist.
Like, I don't know about you, but like I vividly remember being terrified the first time I met my like first girlfriend's parents.
Oh my God, of course. Everyone is.
Yeah.
The first like not even the first, but just like every time you're dating someone and the first time you're meeting their dad, it's terrifying. It's always terrifying. And this took that and just fucking ran with it.
Yeah.
With making it, oh, by the way, he's the villain of the whole movie.
Sure.
And he literally wants you dead. Like, that was really great, man. And it was a good kept secret. It wasn't telegraphed in the film at all. And once, it's revealed, you're thinking back and you're like, it makes sense. He keeps rambling on about his family. And we don't know much about Liz until this point, which is by design. And it's important that you're hiding
Plays completely well in the movie.
100%, yeah. Because you get enough about her character with like the debate stuff, or not debate, but decathlon, or I don't know.
So I've talked to someone before who does listen to the podcast who
We have
said-
listeners?
like at least 2.
Oh my
I can guarantee
God.
you we got 2.
Hello. Who is it? Let me do a shout out.
Mike.
Hello, Mike. Wait, your brother?
Yeah.
God damn it!
He is a listener.
I'm glad
You have
you're
to
listening,
acknowledge him.
Mike. I just we already knew. I already knew.
He was
that
on the
one,
show, too.
Yes, he was.
He thought that the twist kind of came out of nowhere, and this is where
Which it did.
Done.
Okay, here we go.
We gonna fucking disagree, because I feel like at a certain point the driving force with Michael Keaton's character, the Vulture,
Yeah.
is his family.
Yes.
Right? That is what is motivating him to become
Scene
who he is.
1.
Yeah.
We established.
We have
that.
families. We all have families.
Yeah.
I have a family. Yeah, like that is what he is trying to do. Is like he's a dude who, granted, sees himself as a victim. And as you were bringing up, he's a guy who's insecure in the sense that he sees himself as a victim. Like, oh, this terrible thing happened to me. Now I'm just going to do whatever I have to do to make ends meet.
Yep.
And that's what leads him to, like, stealing these artifacts from the Avengers scuffle. That's what leads him to, like, building these weapons and selling them, is to provide for his family. And so even though it was kind of like it's sort of convenient, but at the same time, it totally makes sense to me. And, like, again, it plays into who his character is, who Peter Parker's character is, what kind of story they're trying to tell. And in that regard,
Totally.
I thought it totally worked.
Yeah, and like, look, Mike's point.
Bring it!
Yeah, bring it, Mike. And Mike's point isn't wrong. It does seemingly come out of nowhere because that is a surprise. Surprises have to come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then looking back, you can go, oh, this makes sense. And I thought it did make sense. And if we're trying to get on, if we're trying to look at this movie through the lens of Peter Parker, it's important that we were blindsided by it because Peter is blindsided by it. And I think that is very important. Fucking great time, man. I had a great time with it.
I did too,
It was
yeah.
funny. It was so funny. There was so much humor in it, and like there was so much humor in it, it's hard to even narrow down on a joke that I can say. Like the movie's filled with great jokes.
I love Hannibal Buress as the gym teacher.
Oh my God, yes.
There's a really great running gag where Captain America does like these little like after school specialty things. Yeah, PSAs.
Sort of,
PSAs.
yeah, for high schoolers.
For high schoolers. And so it's like, it's important for you guys to like do your push-ups and like remain active and exercise.
Right.
And Hannibal Buress clicks the TV off and says, yeah, I'm pretty sure this dude's a war criminal now, but he's got a point. Do some push-ups. And that's what leads to them like going
incredible.
into gym. Yeah.
Oh my God, Martin Starr had a great joke of like he was being interviewed on the news and he's just like, I just couldn't lose a kid. Not again.
Yeah, not again. That was
it. Just
it.
looks down.
Yeah.
It just lingers on it. There was so much humor in this movie, and it was so just energetic.
And like
fun.
that was like the cool thing about it is it felt like everyone in the movie was just so fucking pumped to be in a Spider-Man movie.
know,
you know
right?
what I mean?
Yes,
including the directors, including the people who worked on it. Like you could just kind of get that sense that everyone was just having the time of their lives,
including Zendaya. She's not above being in a Spider-Man movie. Even she knows that Spider-Man
is cool.
It's cool.
Shit.
You better love Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like that passion definitely carries over in like the pace and the fact that they're just willing to say, fuck it, let's have a joke in here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that specifically the Amazing Spider-Man series lacks.
Ooh, there was a massive lack of humor in that one.
Yeah.
If there was one big criticism I have for the Andrew Garfield films, like zero humor in them.
Well, they were trying to Dark Knight the franchise. Because there's that point where every superhero franchise, it's like, well, the Dark Knight was dark, we gotta make everything like this.
And like a lot of people claim that, but I think there is a little bit of that, but more so, I think they were trying to emotionalize the franchise. Make it very emotional.
We should probably talk about Homecoming.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
I
did. I had a lot of fun with the movie. I'll kind of launch into some like, minor criticisms.
Bring it on.
Again,
let's hear it.
Overall, really liked it.
Loved it,
but every Marvel movie seems to kind of have like a familiar structure to me, which
you knew going in because you were planning on getting food.
And yep, exactly. And I think it's time that they maybe switch it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Is all I'm arguing for. And that's not to say that their structure is bad. I walked out of a movie with that structure in Spider-Man Homecoming and had a great time.
Yeah.
I walked out of that structure to a degree that's Iron Man 3, but even then, Iron Man 3 is basically just a Shane Black movie, so it doesn't really matter.
I loved.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Iron Man 3. That said, it's getting to the point now where even though I didn't see Michael Keaton being Liz's dad coming, like I did not call that in any way, shape, or form. That said, it's like, well, usually right around here something big happens. And what was cool about it is it's like, oh, instead of it being an action beat, it's a character beat. It's a major character reveal, which is sort of playing with the structure, but at the same time, you can still sort of you can set your watch to it.
I think that
here's
is a
what's
very
going
good
to
point.
happen on.
That's a
here's
very
what's
good
going to go on. And so I deep down that no one at Marvel gives a fuck about my opinion on this. But what I will say,
but they do about mine.
So
Kevin,
I can't pronounce his last name. Kevin Feige.
The majority of people that I hear say it say Feige.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe, just maybe, they'll hear that my voice, Kevin, and then they'll just assume, oh, that must be Kevin Feige. Let's listen to what he has to say. I don't know why he didn't just send us this in an email,
Yeah.
but, whatever. We get it in a podcast form. I think it's time to just switch up that structure a little bit.
And you
And
know
like
what?
to take a couple of risks in like how you're structuring your
Yeah.
film. And like, if you want to still shoehorn the universe in there, God damn you. But I get it. Fine. That's your MO. That's your bag.
But like, but shoehorning the universe in the Spider-Man
It's part
film,
of the structure.
and it wasn't even your problem with it,
Right.
Really. Like,
oh no, this movie, I felt like
all the references.
all the references. So like Captain America's stuff, I think was great.
I mean, how about the opening scene with Michael Keaton cleaning up the battle from the Avengers movie in
Meh.
New York?
Here's my thing. It's meh, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that's how he gets this crazy weapon.
Okay, all right.
And so I guess I'm fine with it. But like, I'm pretty sure there's an episode, and correct me if I'm wrong, of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where it's them cleaning up after the Avengers. That huge battle, right?
I don't remember them doing it after the Avengers. I do remember them cleaning up a bit after Thor: The Dark World.
That was it. Okay. But it's like, for fuck's sake, guys. I think you've tapped the market on cleaning crews in the Marvel comic universe.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
let's give someone else something to do. I think for the most part, like, this is the first Marvel movie in a long time where, I feel like all of this was earned. The Civil War recap at the beginning of the movie, like, right when it's, like, a film by Peter Parker, and then it's, like, his little iPhone movie.
That was really cool.
I thought it was really cute, and in addition, it's like, okay, cool, this gets the exposition dump out of the way in like, a fun way.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, I actually really didn't have as big of an issue with that in this movie. I felt like all of Iron Man's stuff was earned. Especially because he was kind of being like a father. He was a stand-in father figure.
Totally. Or an uncle figure.
That said,
his uncle's gone.
Kind of wish they did a little bit more with Aunt May.
There was more. I read articles that there was a couple Aunt May scenes that got left on the cutting room floor.
I'm sad to hear that.
And I am too, because one, and if you don't mind me explaining it, was very interesting. Apparently it was during some sort of scuffle in a street somewhere. Peter is off like doing a Spider-Man thing, but Aunt May like literally yanks someone out of the way and saves their life.
Aww.
Peter sees it. He gets home and asks Aunt May how her day was, and she keeps it a secret from him. And she was like, it was fine.
That's so fucking great.
I know. So they,
oh my God.
Their mind was in the right place, but I guess they cut it for time. But like, I know.
That would have been perfect.
I read that description and I'm like, that is such a great dynamic that both of them are keeping a secret from the other.
And see, that's exactly what I was hoping for out of that character, because you have the uncle figure in Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But like, just to get like Aunt May kind of not like grounding, like you're a grounded kid, like, but grounding him as a person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like you have the uncle that has these lofty aspirations, and then you have the aunt, and like that's a perfect and great example of that.
Yeah.
Of just like, you don't have to sit around and fucking flaunt every time you do something good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like, even though Peter Parker, as a teenager, of course, takes the wrong lesson from it of, oh, okay, I guess I just shouldn't let her know that I'm a crime fighter. But at the same time, you can kind of see where it's like he's kind of getting his examples from.
Yeah.
Like, that's I wish
It
that
was
was in the
good.
movie.
It was good, right? I know. And I don't know if I explained it 100% how I read it.
But
how I read it.
yeah.
But that was the gist of it. And she was great, though, right? As
She's
Aunt
great.
May.
Yeah. That
she-
said, I really wish that they had started to do a running joke, but it didn't really have a punchline of like people wanting to fuck her and
people like sort of hitting on her
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
I mean, I think it was enough there with being set up in Civil War with Tony Stark basically hitting on her, and then the guy at the restaurant in this movie, and then Tony Stark asking about her in this
I
one.
don't know how I feel
Also,
about,
I got the impression that Peter's friend Ned definitely got funny feelings around
Sure.
his Aunt May.
But like, see, like the Ned thing, I think is a little bit more palatable for me because it's like he's a 15-year-old, and as we have said on this podcast, Marissa Tomei's a pretty attractive woman.
She's a knockout.
She's a knockout,
She's
man.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah, that doesn't need to be stated because
course.
everyone is aware of
It's
it.
if you have eyes,
Yeah.
we're all on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, in terms of like broader issues that I had with it, honestly, for me, the only parts in the movie where I started to kind of like dip or feel a little bit bored were the action scenes.
Sure.
Just because I didn't really feel like they did anything new within the Marvel universe to, like, you know, make those action scenes really resonate with me as Peter. Just because it's like, I would have appreciated him fucking up a bit more, especially at the beginning of, like, him trying to be a crime fighter.
With combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed to handle everything pretty,
like, super well.
Pretty well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I get, like, you know...
Except,
he's-
unless for the end. Like, when he's in his, like, sweatpants uniform.
Yeah.
Fighting the Vulture in that warehouse, he was getting his shit kicked in.
Yeah, but that's not an issue with, like, him as a warrior or whatever. That's
No.
just, he doesn't have the suit. And
Yeah.
I think I would have appreciated, because if he is a 15-year-old who's awkward, who means well in his day-to-day life, it would have been cool if I saw that translated a bit in the action sequences.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I did see some cool web slinging combat.
The cool thing about it is the wisecracking, which I missed so much from the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Oh God, yeah.
Was like
he
they're-
talked, but it
it
wasn't funny.
Yeah.
No, right. Yeah.
And I think that those sequences where, like, you know, he's like cracking wise, that's what kept me in
Yeah.
those action
Yeah.
sequences.
Yeah, man.
But other than that, dude, no, I really enjoyed it.
It was a fun soundtrack too. I don't remember specifically some of the songs that popped up, but I do know like there were some recognizable good music in it. Not just orchestra score, but also just like hits, you know, like songs. And I remember really respecting that and enjoying that a lot too. But yeah, I fucking loved it. It's my favorite movie of the year. So
Are you
far.
gonna see it again, sir? Are you gonna should see it again?
I'm gonna should see it again. I think
You got a double should see it
I got
again.
a double should see it again. For
Wow.
James over here is
And
just loving movies lately, I guess.
For me, well, that's good. For me, it is another glad I saw it. We
good.
got two glad I saw it.
That's
but this one for me is on the high end of glad I saw it.
Yes,
It's like,
yeah.
you know, I'd like to see it again, and I probably will when it comes out on Blu-ray. But would I go again in a theater?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
And like that's important that you're drawing a line somewhere because I think it was when we were reviewing the Logan movie where you gave it a like should see it again, and I'm like,
and I would see the
and
shit
you,
out of it
you
again.
were taken aback when I said glad I saw it.
I was.
But I'm like, no, I mean you and I both should establish like that needs to be for movies that you are like just over the moon about, which you were for Logan.
Oh, I fucking love
But
Logan.
yeah, and I loved Logan, but
Yeah.
I just Spider-Man is more my type of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so should see it again, 100%.
Well,
yeah.
damn. All right. Well, James has to get going to the theater. He's got 2 fucking movies to watch, ladies
Got
and
a double
gentlemen.
feature tonight.
Let us know what your thoughts are on Baby Driver and on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts on our episode with David. Just because I want to let people know. So you might have listened to our In the Shop segment and been like...
It was the last episode 24, guys.
Correct.
Yeah.
You might have listened to the In the Shop segment and been like, do they really have to go through every single goddamn shot? And I just need you to know from James and I, having recorded it and having edited it specifically, we don't want to do that again either.
No, I think we'd shorten it up.
That said, yeah, we were thinking about, like, if we were to do that segment again, like, taking it down to, like, 20-second chunks per trailer or something like that. So that way we could still go slow and in-depth with it, but then we wouldn't have to say the same goddamn thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And therefore...
You mean, like, frame within a frame, frame within a frame, frame within a frame. Yeah, exactly. It's an inside joke. You'd get it if you heard
If you listen to episode 24, which I know we're not selling you on listening.
It's
to
real
24.
great, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It came out well. But if you're like, no, I just don't fucking want to hear that thing ever again, write in on trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com.
Please, give us feedback. We want feedback, guys.
At TrailerHitchPod on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. If you shout loud enough in the valley, you can probably, catch one of our attention. Otherwise, y'all, thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, just rate and review us on iTunes.
Yes.
Please. I think it's still at 7. So I can only assume that there's only 7 of you listening, which I think is
Prove
incorrect.
James
Please
wrong.
prove me wrong. But yeah, there you go.
All right, cool. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great weekend, right?
Week, day.
Because who knows when this
afternoon
episode comes out.
And who knows when they're listening.
Have
to
a
it
good
either.
life. Be good. Be good.
That seems final.
You can't mount holy sails without a sailor stitch, and you can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
And that's what the movie was. It's so fucking adorable.
I hate to do it. I'm so sorry.
No, don't let her. She's trying to have fun. She hears us having fun. She wants to have fun.
Give you that one because it doesn't squeak.
She seems okay with it. Yeah, look at her. She's happy.
All right.
Yeah, you eat that elephant.
Oh shit. Let's listen back.